Today, we are diving into a really simple but honestly profound idea. What if spiritual enlightenment isn't something you have to go find on a distant mountaintop? What if it's right here in the middle of our everyday, sometimes chaotic lives? We're going to look at Master Hsing Yun's Humanistic Buddhism to see how we can find real meaning right where we are.
I mean, be honest. For a lot of us, the answer is a big yes, right? The phrase spiritual practice can conjure up these images of monks in faraway temples, meditating for hours, doing rituals that feel completely disconnected from our world of deadlines, family dinners, and, just sitting in traffic. But what if that's not the whole picture?
And this is where the big shift in thinking happens. The old way of looking at it often puts up a wall between your spiritual life and your real life. But Humanistic Buddhism just kind of knocks that wall down. It says that our daily actions, how we work, the way we talk to people, even just how we eat a meal, that is the real arena for spiritual growth.
So this is the core idea we're going to unpack today. It's not about finding a way to escape the world. It's about learning how to engage with it more wisely and with more compassion. It's really a practical philosophy designed for the lives we are actually living.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about how to bring your practice into your daily routine. Then, we're going to look at some simple guidelines to kind of anchor us. After that, we'll touch on the wisdom you can find just by reading. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together through action and community. Let's get into it. So let's start by, figuratively tearing down the walls. This whole approach is about taking spiritual practice out of a special building and putting it right where we live, in our homes, at our jobs, and in every single conversation we have. Now, a really key concept here is something called secret practice. And that word secret doesn't mean it's some mysterious hidden thing. It just means it's personal. It's all about cultivating virtues like kindness or patience inside yourself as a fundamental part of who you are, without needing a gold star or anyone to notice. The focus shifts from performing for others to genuine internal change. And what this really gets down to is quality over quantity. The real measure of your practice isn't some spiritual scorecard of how many rituals you've done. It's all about how you actually apply these ideas to navigate your life with a little more grace and how you positively impact the people that are around you. Okay, so if practice happens in daily life, how do we actually do it, right? Let's look at some really concrete tools that can act as simple anchors to keep us grounded throughout our day. Take these 4 verses, for example. They're meant to be a simple, memorable guide. And you see that line about Chan, Pure Land, and precepts? That's really just a nod to the fact that there are different paths, like meditation, devotion, and ethical rules, but they're all leading to the same goal. You could recite these before a meal or at the start of a meeting, just as a quick way to recenter your mind on what really matters. Or how about this, the 10 Cultivations song? This is less about some lofty philosophy and more of a simple recipe for peaceful human interaction. I mean, think about number 2. Don't compare yourself to others. How much anxiety would we free ourselves from if we just consciously chose not to do that? These are small shifts that can have a huge impact on our relationships and our own peace of mind. And this is what I find absolutely incredible, just how modern and relatable these ideas are. We're not talking about ancient, abstract rules here. We're talking about having a normal breakfast, not obsessing over brand names, and making a point to praise other people. It's such a brilliant example of how you can translate timeless wisdom into super specific, actionable advice for the life you're living today. All right, practice isn't just about what we do on the outside. It's also about cultivating wisdom on the inside. So let's take a look at how simple acts like reading and reflecting can become a really powerful form of practice in themselves. This quote is a perfect example of that practicality. It's such a simple mental flip, isn't it? Instead of directing criticism outward, you turn it inward for self-improvement. And instead of focusing on what's wrong with other people, you look for their strengths so you can learn from them. So simple, so powerful. Here's another amazing piece of wisdom. Now, no mind might sound a little out there, but it simply means a state of mind that isn't all tangled up in rigid attachments and ego. And I love how the quote contrasts this ultimate goal with the practical tool for getting there, mindfulness. Just being fully present in whatever it is you're doing. And this wisdom isn't just meant for you to keep to yourself. The whole idea of these reading clubs transforms the solitary act of reading into a community practice. It's about turning everyday spaces, your home, your office, even a cafe, into places where people can connect, share what they're learning, and grow together.
This collection of short essays is built on such a powerful idea that the gap between being confused and having clarity, between ignorance and enlightenment, it's not some giant chasm you have to leap across. It's often just a single thought away. A tiny shift in perspective can change absolutely everything. And this quote is a perfect example of that perspective shift. It completely reframes patience. It's not a passive weakness or just gritting your teeth. It's an active source of incredible strength. It's a reminder of the power we have in choosing how we respond in any given moment. So, we've looked at our inner work and our daily actions. Now let's explore how to take that practice and really express it outwardly through service, through art, through community, and connecting our own personal growth to the well-being of everyone else. And check this out. This is a fantastic example of using modern methods to share ancient wisdom. The Humanistic Sounds Project takes Buddhist teachings and sets them to a contemporary music, so messages of peace and harmony, which were once limited to traditional chants, can now be shared in over 30 languages with a global audience. The impact, as you can see, is just exponential. Now, for those who do prefer a bit more structure in their day, there are practices like this, the Guang Samadhi practice. Samadhi just means a state of deep meditative concentration. And you'll notice it's kind of presented like a menu, connecting your body, your speech, and your mind. It lets you create a holistic practice that really feels meaningful to you. Here's another really powerful idea. Volunteering isn't just a nice thing to do. It's seen as a direct path for spiritual growth. By serving others, you are actively working on your own compassion, your own patience, and your own wisdom. Helping the community literally becomes a way of working on yourself. So when you put it all together, what you have is this flexible toolkit, not a rigid set of rules. Feeling stressed out in social situations? Maybe you could try the 10 Cultivation song. Need a fresh perspective? Pick up an essay. Feeling a little disconnected? Consider volunteering. The whole idea is to empower you to choose the practice that fits your life and what you need right now. And that really is the heart of it all. This entire approach is a powerful reminder that true spiritual practice isn't found by retreating from the messiness of life, but by learning to engage with that messiness more skillfully, more mindfully, and with a whole lot more compassion. So I'll leave you with this question. Forget about making huge, sweeping changes. What's just one small, ordinary action, making your morning coffee, answering an email, talking to a family member? What's one thing you could transform into a moment of genuine practice today?